Hello friends, welcome to my channel and this is Santosh sir, and in this video we'll be doing IPO 04, all important suggestions for December exams. And you know this one, like I have prepared all the suggestions for December for all the IBO series, like this one IBO 01, 02, 03, 04, 05 and 06. So all these materials I have taken a lot of hard work for this, and let's come straight to IBO 04, and let's see what are the topics that you should study for this exam. Okay, now I have included like all the past, previous 10 years questions, paper analysis, and the most probable questions that you can get. I have prepared all these materials unit wise. As you can see here, IBO 04 unit 1 is on export import trade regulatory framework. But friends, let me tell you, IBO 04 actually it's a combination of all the other IBO papers. ये पूरा कॉम्बिनेशन है, एक मिक्सचर है. इसके अंदर सारी चीज़ें हैं. बेसिकली लॉज थोड़े से ज़्यादा हैं, तो आपको लर्न करना पड़ेगा. कई सारी चीज़ें हैं, लर्न करनी पड़ेगी. एंड लॉट ऑफ टॉपिक ऐसे हैं जो कॉमन है, जो IBO 1 में भी है, 2 में भी है, 3 में भी है एंड 5 एंड 6 में भी है. तो वहाँ से थोड़ी सी स्टूडेंट्स को बेनिफिट मिल जाएगा उसका. सो the first thing is the first question, that is legal framework of foreign trade. And यहाँ पे आपको याद रखने हैं like all these 4 acts. Foreign Trade Development Regulation Act 1992 very important act है foreign trade के ऊपर. Then Foreign Exchange Management Act, जिसको हम लोग FEMA बोलते हैं in short, तो ये भी बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट है. कॉमन क्वेश्चन है इस एक्ट के ऊपर, ऑलवेज एग्जाम्स में क्वेश्चन बनता ही बनता है. Then we have one more important act, that is Custom Act 1962, Export Quality Control Inspection Act 1963, right? All these 4 acts you must study, you might get in short notes. The next question is objective and features of import export policy. Very very important question. Import export policy, जो इंडियन इम्पोर्ट एक्सपोर्ट पॉलिसी है, उसके मेन ऑब्जेक्ट क्या है, फीचर्स क्या हैं, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. ओके, so the next topic is registration formalities for exports. How the exporters can register themselves, what are the stages, because an exporter needs to obtain 2 important documents to do export. The first one is IEC number and the second one export license. So without these 2 important documents, IEC is import export code number, so this document should be there, and some other procedures are there to obtain export license. So here I have written this procedures to obtain export license. Okay, the next question is what is the role of exports in the economic development of a country. Actually it's a very common question, students can write by their common sense, and this question is also present in IBO 3, IBO 1. So basically exports, it creates employment opportunities. It also helps to increase the standard of living of the people. Economic growth and development of the country is possible by more and more exports. Then it reduces balance of payment deficit, and foreign currency reserves can be increased. Then domestic industries can grow with the help of international trade, and it also helps in increasing the GDP and national income of the country. So like this, these are few important factors. The next topic of this unit is general provisions regarding exports and imports. So what are the main provisions? So what are the main steps? Okay, so this one is also a very important one. The next one is deemed exports. बहुत ही important topic है, and mostly short questions में या फिर शॉर्ट नोट्स में, कमेंट्स में, कहीं पर भी आ सकता है क्वेश्चन. एक्चुअली मैं थोड़ा सा आपको ब्रीफ कर देता हूँ. दैट डीम्ड एक्सपोर्ट रिफर्स टू द गुड्स एंड नॉट सर्विस विच आर मैन्युफैक्चर्ड एंड ट्रांसपोर्टेड इन इंडिया लोकली. द गुड्स डू नॉट लीव इंडिया. Actually the supplier, you can better understand from this example. For example, a manufacturer from Kolkata sells goods to a firm based in Mumbai, who in turn exports the goods to Russia. So this is called deemed export. Okay, like the firm, the manufacturer doesn't directly do exports. Rather, he sells his goods to an exporter who in turn do the exports. Then you must learn about what are the conditions and eligibility for deemed exports, and what are the benefits that a company get through these deemed exports. Okay, let's move on to Unit 2. Unit 2 is on export sales contract. Uh, you got questions from this unit in June 2022, and like the beginning of the topic from here is uh, INCO terms. Now, INCO terms are international commercial terms published by the International Chamber of Commerce, and they are meant to make the foreign trade smoother and clearly define the roles of exporters and importers in the international trade. And basically, there are 11 intocoms Incoterms by 2022. So all these 11 I have written here, like X works, free carrier, carriage paid to, CPT, CIP, DAP, then DPU, DDP, FAS, FOB, CFR and CIF. And among this, आपको इसके बारे में ज़्यादा पढ़ना है. FOB, that is free on board, and CIF, that is cost, insurance and freight. तो ये क्वेश्चंस यहाँ से एग्जाम्स में बनता है. तो दिस इज़ व्हाट आई रिटन हियर. इसको ज़्यादा डिटेल में मैंने यहाँ पे डिफाइन किया है दैट CIF कॉन्ट्रैक्ट क्या होते हैं, व्हाट आर बेसिकली कॉस्ट, इंश्योरेंस और फ्रेट. सो all the acts, rules, regulations related to this three factors are come under CIF contract. Then its main features, some responsibilities are there with the exporter uh, in the CIF contract. Then there are also some responsibilities of the buyer. So all these responsibilities I have written here. Then FOB contract, free on board. FOB contract, generally, all the shipping orders and contracts often describes the time and place of delivery, then payment, then when the risk of loss shifts to sellers to buyer. So like this, all these topics, all these points are described in this contract between the exporter and importer. And these are the different clauses of FOB contract, like all the terms and termination of the goods, then quality and quantity of the goods, then the price of the goods, shipment schedule, then force majeure, so indemnification, then we have dispute resolution and the governing laws. So all these are the main clauses of this contract. And this one, like the difference between FOB contract and CIF contract, this one is also a very very important question, so do not leave this. Then let's move on to Unit 3, the importance of the documentation in imports and exports. A little bit critical topic, like what are the documents that are required in import export business. So basically, first of all, you should read about like importance of these documents. Why firms need these documents? Basically, for commercial perspective, then some legal factors are there which makes these documents very important, and some incentives related factors are there. And to get all these incentives, the documents must be prepared by the importers and exporters. So these are all the documents that are required for export custom clearance, like pro forma invoice, custom packing list, country of origin, commercial invoice, shipping bill, bill of lading or airway bill, then bill of site, then letter of credit, bills of exchange, export license, warehouse receipt, and lastly health certificate. So all these 12 documents are required, and this question is very very important as far as your exams are concerned, right? Let's move on to the next question. The documents required for import trade. The first document is Import Export Code, that is IEC code. which just now I tell you about. And the second one is bill of entry. Now, this is the most important document, bill of entry. Then the third one is commercial invoice and packing list. So this document is also required. Then bill of lading or airway bill. It is also required by the importer. The importer must possess a valid import license and insurance certificate. So these are the important documents. Okay, let's move on to the next topic, Unit 4, Electronic Data Interchange System. Right. First of all, you should study about okay, what is this EDI. This topic is also common in a lot of subjects of IBO and MCO. Basically, it is a direct transfer of business information from one computer to other. Okay, and actually, the main object is to bring a uniform standard all over the world in international trade, and you must read about this, the benefits of EDI system, because it reduces. I have explained this in my previous video also of IBO 04. So there are a lot of benefits of EDI, and EDI brings standardization in matters of international trade, and these are the basic areas of standardization. EDI is not possible without EDIFACT. Now, you might get a short note on this EDIFACT. Actually, the full form of this is Electronic Data Interchange for Administration, Commerce, and Transport. And this is a global set of rules defined by UN for the inter-company electronic data exchange between two or more business partners. So, very important thing for your exams. And I have also written all the clauses of these EDIFACTs, like what are the factors or clauses that it covers. This question, value added network WAN, it came in June 2022. So you can skip this for this exam. Okay, then benefits, then this one. The difference between EDI and e-commerce. You must learn about this. And simple difference is there. And there are a lot of things common in both the concepts. Unit 5 is on processing of an export order. Export order आपको मिल गया, उसको आप process कैसे करेंगे? Now these are the steps an exporter take before dispatching. First, examination and confirmation of the export order. Second one, manufacturing or processing of the goods. Third, central excise clearance. Fourth, pre-shipment inspection of all the cargoes. Fifth, appointment of C&F agents. Sixth, transportation of goods to the port area. The next step is port formalities and custom clearance of the goods. Eighth one, obtaining certificate of origin. The ninth is presentation of documents to the bank and clearing all, obtaining or claiming the export incentives. So these are very important steps for completing an export order. Okay. The next one is the functions of clearing and forwarding agent. Now this topic is also common in a lot of subjects of MCOM. Clearing, and because exports imports are not possible without C&F agents, because it governs a lot of formalities, regulations, custom formalities. So these people are these are agents who are professional people, and they know how to complete all the documentation. So you should study about their functions. Okay. The next unit is terms of payment. These are the methods of payment in import-export trade. I have written here 5 methods. First is advance, simple method for advance low and then you dispatch the goods. Second one is through letter of credit, LOC. Third one, documentary collection. Then there is a facility of open account through which payments can be made or received. Then consignment and trade finance. So these are the basic 5 methods. Among them, LOC is the most important, because without LOC, all these international trade is not possible. An exporter always ask for the LOC of the importer, because he just wants to get a guarantee from the importer's bank that if he doesn't pay the payment, then he will collect it from his bank. So you must read about all the features of LOC and what are the parties involved in this LC or LOC. Then the process of letter of credit, LOC, like what its process, how it is issued, to whom it is issued, like on what conditions and criteria it is issued. So like that, very important one. There are different types of LOC also. As many as you know, there are 10 types of LOC in international trade. So just go through this, right? The next unit is unit 7, exchange control regulations. Now here again, like we'll be studying about all the laws. Little bit boring, because learning all the laws is not an easy job. And just this is FEMA Act. This is the most important act which lays down all the rules and regulations of international trade. So this topic is also common in most of the MCOM papers. So you are now in first year. When you go to second year, again you will get questions on FEMA Act. FEMA and FERA, both these acts are important. You must understand their objectives, why this FEMA Act was formed by the government, what are the guidelines and regulations of FEMA, then what are the different types of account that are maintained by FEMA, or clauses or rules that are written for capital account and current account. So you must pay attention to this also, right? This is about current account. Then the main features and provisions of FEMA. ये सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट पार्ट है यहाँ का, कि इसके मेन एक्ट के मेन प्रोविजंस क्या क्या हैं. जैसे यहाँ पे AD सॉरी ऑथोराइज्ड पर्सन होने चाहिए, एंड दीज आर ऑल एप्लीकेबल टू द इंडियन रेसिडेंट्स ओनली. NRI आर नॉट अलाउड इन दिस एक्ट. एंड लाइक दैट बेसिकली यहाँ पे इस एक्ट का मेन ऑब्जेक्ट होता है कि भाई जो फॉरेन एक्सचेंज फॉरेन करेंसी है वो इजीली एक्सचेंज हो जाए बिटवीन द इम्पोर्टर एंड एक्सपोर्टर. द नेक्स्ट यूनिट इज एक्सपोर्ट फाइनेंस. नाउ दिस यूनिट इज ऑल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. what are the methods through which an exporter can raise finance? There are two methods. First one, pre-shipment finance. That means before exporting, export करने के पहले ही आप finance करवा सकते हैं. And post-shipment finance. That is, after the export, after the dispatch of goods, you can raise finance through different sources. The pre-shipment finance, there are three sources. One is packing credit. Second one, advance against incentives. And third one, pre-shipment credit in foreign currency. Now ये तीनों मेथड से सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट मेथड है पहला वाला, दैट इज पैकिंग क्रेडिट. वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट वन. Let me brief you this packing credit. Now it is a type of credit where export financing solution is provided by the financial institutions to the exporters to make necessary arrangements for manufacturing the goods for their export orders. They can borrow the amount for their capital needs, and in return they have to pay an interest, and this payment should be made between 150 to 180 days. Okay, so there are basic eligibility criteria to export to claim this packing credit. So I have written there. Then the next one is this one, the features of packing credit. So do not escape this one. I have written four characteristics. First one, self-liquidation. Second one, lower rate of interest. Third, exporter-friendly terms of conditions. And it's a great way to finance the working capital requirement for an organization. So like this, different types of packing credit are there. Like, and these are the other two methods of obtaining export finance. Advance against export incentives, and pre-shipment credit in foreign currency, that is PCFC. Let's study about post-shipment finance and what are the different sources available for an exporter. There are as many as 5 methods through which an exporter can obtain export finance in post-shipment. That is discounting of export bills with the banks. It is one of the common process. Then advanced against export bill. This can be obtained through banks. Then advanced against export bills stand for collection, and advanced against export on consignment basis, and advanced against claims on duty drawbacks. Okay, so these are the 5 methods. These are post shipment finance. So I have explained this. The next concept is Exim Bank, Export Import Bank. This is also a common topic, and it is already there in semester 1 and semester 2. This is the most important bank for international trade in India, and you must read about its objectives, its roles, its functions. This is what I have written here: roles and functions of Exim Bank. Okay. The next you can get a short note on this: export under deferred payments. Deferred payments means selling the goods now, and you will receive the payment on a future date. So this process is little bit risky, but where there is business, there is credit also. Deferred payment is a must. Okay, let's move on to Unit 9, Export Credit Insurance. I think this question came in June 2022, ECGC, Export Credit Guarantee Corporation. This is a very common question. Almost every year it strikes in the exams. And this is the most important institution in India which provides insurance to exporters. So you must read about this, should collect lot of information about this ECGC. And there are different types of policies that are offered by ECGC, like standard policies, second one specific policies, third one financial policies, and fourth one special schemes. And one by one, again, all these are very important. Like in standard policies, like what are these standard policies, and what type of risk are covered in standard policies. Very important one. Okay. Then the second policy is specific policy. You must read about like what is this, and what are the different types of risk which are covered in this policy. I have written here 3 types of risk, like specific policy for supply of contract, then service policy, and third one construction works policy. So these are the risks covered by this policy. Financial policy related to financial matter, and special schemes are some, whenever the government launches any scheme for this, so that can be availed through this. Unit 10 is on import finance. Export finance we have already done. Import finance, what are the main regulatory framework for import finance, and the different methods to raise import finance. I have written here 5 methods. The first one is LOC, letter of credit. Second one, bills under collection. Third one, deferred payment. Fourth one, foreign credit, and fifth one, Exim banks. So these are a few sources through which import finance can be obtained. The next unit is Unit 11, preparing for shipment. Okay. So before you export the goods, now exporter will look into for the transportation, and for that you need the shipping. The first question is liner shipping and tramp shipping. You got question in June 2022 from this. Question आया था this liner and tramp shipping का difference, then different types of tramp chartering, like voyage charter, time charter, and bare boat charter. ये क्वेश्चन जून में आया था, so be particular about this. Okay, the next one is quality control And you must read about this one, ISO 9000 quality standards. What are these? इसके ऊपर short notes आपको मिल सकता है. So must read for your exam. These are the benefits or importance of ISO 9000. The next question is this. This is also a common question. बहुत सारे exams में ये question आया हुआ है. What is containerization and state its advantages and disadvantages? This question is also there in the logistics management. I think IBO 5. So we have already done this. And what are the advantages and disadvantages of containerization? Okay. The next unit is unit 12, cargo insurance. In cargo insurance, yeah, you should read about like why this cargo insurance is important in international trade. What are the different types of cargo insurance policies are there, like open policy, then free, particular, average, or open cover, and shipment by shipment, or specific voice policy. So these three policies are important. This question is very important. The different types of perils or risk covered in cargo insurance. Basically, these are the perils. Perils means risks, like maritime perils, extraneous perils, war perils, and strike perils. So maritime related to the when the ship is in the oceans, so there are a lot of risk. Extraneous refers to this manual faults, like faults during loading, or there is some leakage, breakage, or theft of cargo. War, whenever two countries are in war, so there arises the risk. So like this you can explain. The next topic is unit 13, shipment of export cargo. Again a very important one. And these are the different stages of shipment of export cargo, like filing of documents, then payment of port charges, then obtaining permission from the shipping company, then obtaining permission from the state superintendent, then arranging for transportation of cargo to the port area, then obtaining the permission of the gate inspector, loading, unloading. So like that. The most important is the last three stages, where the exporter gets this let ship order, made receipt, and fact of shipment certificate. So these are few important ones. Then procedures in custom clearance of export by sea. सो यहाँ पे आपको ध्यान देना है कि क्या प्रोसेसेस हैं एक्सपोर्टर के पास में जब वो पानी से, वाटर से अगर कार्गो को भेज देता है. एंड ये है सम इम्पॉर्टेंट डॉक्यूमेंट्स विच आर रिक्वायर्ड. इसके बारे में ऑलरेडी हम लोग कर चुके हैं. एंड देन दिस आर द कस्टम क्लियरेंस ऑफ एक्सपोर्ट बाय एयर. अगर एयर से आपको कार्गो भेजना है तो उसके लिए आपको क्या स्टेप्स, क्या स्टेजेस, क्या प्रोसेस फॉलो करने होंगे. So this one is also very important one. Then what are the different methods of settling disputes in international trade? This is also a common topic which is already there in semester 1 and 2. So basically to settle international disputes there are two processes: litigation, arbitration. Litigation is a court process where legal actions are taken by one party against the other. And I will, like this arbitration is suggested, is the most comfortable process in settling international disputes. Okay. Then the next unit is custom clearance of import cargo. So what are the main objectives of this custom clearance? Basically to check smuggling, then to regulate international trade according to the national policies, and to see that all the FEMA rules and regulations are properly executed. And these are the stages of custom clearance of cargo, import cargo. Very important question. So you must prepare this question well. Right. The next unit is institutional setup for export promotion in India. What are those institutions, organizations which are set up by the government to promote international trade or export? Basically, these 11 I have written, there are a lot of institutions. Out of them, these 11 are more important. First one, EPC, Export Promotion Councils. Second one, commodity boards. Third one, exim banks. We have done about this. Then we have ECGC, that is Export Credit and Guarantee Corporation. Indian Council of Arbitration, which generally helps to settle the disputes, and the Federation of Indian Export Organization, that is FIEO, Indian Trade Promotion Organization ITPO, Indian Institution of Packaging, which looks after the packaging of the cargo, Export Inspection Council and agencies are there to look after the quality of the export cargo. Then Indian Institute of Foreign Trade is there, and lastly National Institution of Fashion Technology. So these are few organizations, and you must define their roles. This is what I've done here. This commodity board, then exim banks. So you should collect little bit of information about them. Unit 16 is on export assistance in India. What are the helps assistance provided? And in this unit, you should read about export promotion measures in India. एंड वेरी कॉमन क्वेश्चन हर साल एग्जाम्स में आता है. बहुत सारे प्रोसेसेस हैं जो गवर्नमेंट ने लिए हैं. उसके अंदर से EPZ, ये IBO 1 में भी है, 2 में भी है, 3 में भी है, सारे IBOs में है. कॉमन क्वेश्चन है एंड इसको बिल्कुल स्किप नहीं करना है. ये क्वेश्चन आपको एग्जाम्स में मिल सकता है. एंड इन सबको आपको जितना ज़्यादा आप लिख सकते हैं, द मोर यू राइट द मोर यू गेट. दैट्स द लॉजिक इन MCOM. So you should concentrate more on developing your writing skills, right? Because you have very less time. 3 घंटे में आपको बहुत बड़े बड़े आंसर्स कंप्लीट करने हैं. एंड दिस केम इन जून 2022 एग्जाम्स. Fiscal and financial assistance to promote export trade. These are few fiscal incentives and financial incentives. ये क्वेश्चन एग्जाम्स में आया था जून में, right? And this is the last unit. Procedures of claiming export incentives. And when we talk about export incentives, सबसे पहला नंबर आता है ड्यूटी ड्रॉबैक स्कीम. एंड यहाँ पे whenever an exporter exports his goods, so he has to pay the custom duty. So according to this scheme, whatever the duty that is being paid by the exporter, he can get it back by claiming duty drawback. तो ये है मतलब ड्यूटी ड्रॉबैक. एंड इसके कुछ प्रोसेसेस हैं जो एक्सपोर्टर को फॉलो करने होते हैं टू गेट द क्लेम्स. द नेक्स्ट इंसेंटिव इज दिस वन, ड्यूटी रेमिशन स्कीम. इसके ऊपर भी जून में क्वेश्चन आया था. तो फ्रेंड्स ये कुछ थे इम्पॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चंस IBO 04 के. इजी टॉपिक तो नहीं है लेकिन मिक्सचर है. अगर आपने बाकी के IBO पेपर्स को अगर अच्छे से प्रिपरेशन कर लिया है तो आई डोंट थिंक यू विल फेस मच डिफिकल्टी इन दिस पेपर. सो अ वेरी बेस्ट ऑफ लक एंड थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर वॉचिंग माई वीडियो.